Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Karma on Deck. I'm Karma. Gonna do your Cancer reading for the week of January 25th through February 31st. And let's get started on that. Let's see what's up for y'all. Ooh, waiting. So we have the Hermit card, first thing that comes up. Isolation and waiting, Queen of Wands. We have the Moon card, exact same position as Gemini had theirs. Two of Coins, opportunity, Five of Swords, which is conflict. Okay, so the Hermit card is isolation. Typically, when we look at the Hermit card, it represents a literal hermit, someone spending time by themselves. But here's the cool thing about the Hermit, excuse me. The Hermit tells us two things. One, it's either time for a little withdrawal or you're feeling withdrawn itself, like in general. However, as we're looking at the Hermit in this sentence, this means you're relying on your own counsel. It looks like there was the Five of Swords recently, a little bit of conflict going on where you're setting your boundaries and setting your standards early, letting people know where you stand, etc. I do see that there's possible collaboration or job offers for you or exchanges of money in some respects. You do have the Moon card. It's interesting to me how usually from one sign to the next, those little cuspers always come in and show us that there's a little bit of both in the one prior or the one after. But you have the Moon card, and the Moon card's all about, in this deck, it's all about mapping. She's literally looking at where she's been based on, she remembers where she's been and never forgets, her source and her origins, and she's looking at where she's at, and there's these two pillars of knowledge, and she's trying to decide what she's going to do next. This isn't the same as the Fool card. It's just about that whole presence of moving forward and what's next and having a little fear for that. So we have the Crab. So a little bit of that is like, what's next? And it's the mysteries, the things that we're not sure what's going to happen, and a little bit of fear. We do have the Two of Wands. There's a little indecision. Interesting. So did Gemini. Six of Cups, which is celebration. Are you feeling a little overwhelmed? The Eight of Swords making you feel as if you've got stuff coming at you from every direction. That's the can't see the forest for the trees type stuff. It's like I can't really tell, what to do next because so much is hitting me from all directions. But the truth is, with the Eight of Wands, it never shows us that there's a lid. There's no lid on the box. Matter of fact, he's not even in a box. This is all perception that's in front of the character. So it's just perfect overwhelm. He's got his blinders on. He's not quite sure how he wants to move forward. He just can't take his eye off the ball right now. Have you been playing a little more than working? We do have the Two of Wands. So that can be one of two things. Two of Wands could be you literally the center person in two different conversations where you're sitting there listening to a husband and a wife, or you're listening to two best friends bitch about each other, or you're listening to your boss and an employer and you're kind of in the middle like, why do I have to hear this? But sometimes it's also the fact that you're sitting in the middle of making a decision and you're literally of two minds. You're moving forward, moving back, etc. So as the Two of Wands pops up, next to the Six of Cups, it's like, do I work or do I play? Because we've got Knight of Wands and the Six of Cups on either side. So I'm feeling like you might be in conflict with a little bit of that. And then we have the Knight of Cups. Interesting. So are you being impulsive emotionally? Which could be the root of all of this. You've got the Three of Wands, which is about pressure. Ace of Swords, decision making. You're not feeling heard, that's for sure. Two things tell me that you don't feel like you're being heard. One here is the Nine of Swords. That's literally a ghost in your own home. You're feeling as if you look in the mirror and you're going, hello, can anybody hear me? So you have the Nine of Swords, which is totally feeling space like you're not being heard, not being recognized, not being noticed. And we have the Hermit card. So have you been isolated? Have you been reaching out? Are you making these connections as well? We have the Nine of Coins. You're indecisive, which is obvious by the Two of Wands. So moving forward, I feel like with the mixture of the Queen of Wands, which is talking about leadership, this is all about leadership of self. So what decisions are you making when it comes to taking leadership of self? Because we have Nine of Coins and the Ace of Swords. So there's some decisions that need to be made. Is there an internal conflict going on for you? Let's take a look and see how your relationships are playing out. Well, we're going to move from the Dragon Tarot to the Mystic Dreamer. Okay, let's see here. All right, Cancer. So, relationships. Maybe not just your lovers, but this is how you're interacting with the other people. Cancer. World card. Online. So there's more isolation. You've been online or communicating or expecting to communicate through social media or via text. I do see the High Priestess. Your intuition's been firing quite a bit lately. Are you a little awkward, Cancer, when your intuition fires? You're a little insecure about that. We do have the Knight of Swords, which is you being a little bit feisty, haven't been sleeping. There was a little conflict for you too. Two of Swords. Moody much. Okay, Cancer. So you and Gemini both are worried about image right now. You're worried about how things look. But because you're worried about how things look, you're doing a little bit of Two of Swords and Four of Cups, which is you backing off, which goes back to our Hermit card. And here's what's true. You're not sleeping. I feel like you're either that or you're sitting up saying things to yourself or running scenarios through your mind enough that you don't feel like you're sleeping restfully. But I'm seeing Nine of Swords, which is just restlessness, indecision. Two of Swords, indecision. We have the Four of Cups. You're not satisfied right now. So I feel like you have a thirst for something and you don't quite know what it is. Are you putting up a standard that people are having a hard time meeting? Because you do have the Hermit card in the spread too. Okay. So maybe you're withdrawing, or maybe you're not telling the truth to people, or maybe you're not sharing what's really going on. But I do see that in your relationships right now, that you might be a little hard to please. And it might also be that your intuition, your feelings, your thoughts are all not jiving right now, because I do see the Page of Swords. Sorry, Knight of Swords. Find your balance, Cancer, because the Lover's card is going to tell me that you have a little internal struggle. So if you can't be clear on the inside, how can people respond to you clearly on the outside if you don't know what you need? Okay, let's pull a card for you from Divination of the Ancients and see what your message is from the Divine before we wrap this up. If you want a one-on-one with me, karmaondeck.com, or you can find me on My Psychic One. Let's take a look and see what Divination of the Ancients says for you. Scrying Mirror. That's cute. All right. I don't think I've read this one before. Maybe once. Scrying Mirror. Projection. Are you projecting? I don't know if you're projecting. Maybe other people are. I think we all are. So it says, you currently desire something so strongly, your focus is completely blinkered, and you cannot see the pitfalls that might come from achieving your goal. Well, I was wondering how this would be in congruence with the prior deck, but it always lands perfectly, because remember that card that I had about overwhelm? Talked about you having blinders on and entirely too many choices to come into play that you're overwhelmed. And indecision, 6 of one, half dozen of the other kind of feeling. The Scrying Mirror card reveals that your obsession for possession has blinded you to some negative aspects of your goal. Are you trying to achieve the perfect goal? Are you trying to achieve Disneyland when Disneyland is impossible? It is vital to be completely clear about what you wish for, lest someone, including yourself, is harmed in the process of gaining it. Monitor your thoughts and words at every moment, as what you give out will come back to you threefold. Gaze long and deep within, intending to truly understand your ambition. When you recognize that everything that happens is merely your projection, your focus will change, and reflection of the love in your heart will dazzle others and ultimately yourself. So we saw the card that showed us that you felt like a ghost. So if projection is perception, shift your perception and start to look and see, how am I showing up, and take responsibility for that. Because maybe you showed up kind of quiet and people are responding quietly. I don't know. Just check into that. Do a little check-in. So the incantation for you for the week, dear Cancer. My heart is finally set free from thoughts of how I must have it be. Mirror, mirror, as I scry, I see my one true love, 'tis I. Be careful what you wish for. Okay, Cancer, reach out if you want your one-on-one with Karma, karmaondeck.com. Please subscribe, stick around for a while, like and share. Visit me next week. Please let me know where you are in the world, and namaste. Catch me on the live. I'll just see you next week.